So railway, metro, and ports. Again, I mean, same thing. You start with planning. You start with understanding what traffic you're going to expect over there. You then go into geometry, designing of. So your vehicle changes. Rest of your process remains the same. Obviously, your design guidelines and principles are going to change. Your if you must, then your formulas are going to change to some extent, because now you're dealing with a different kind of a vehicle. In this case it's a metro or a railway. In this case it's going to be a ship. So all that unnecessary infrastructure design needs to be designed according to the standards. So there will be a lot of design standards that you'll need to read through. So I also suggest that there'll need to be a lot of reading on your own. You'll need to do all that a lot as well. And I believe that's true for majority of the careers, even irrespective of transportation or not. You know, again, you'll need to do a pavement, not necessary. For example, in railways case, a pavement could be you have these railway tracks sitting on top of these stone bollards. So all of that gets designed as well. You know, and lastly, this is one of the new fields. I say new because the rest of all these fields have been here for thousands of years, I would say, and it's been here for ages. This one is quite new, and when I say new, I mean about 30 to 40 years probably, not before that. That's why it's quite new. It's called Intelligent Transportation System. And there are a lot of IITs that cover this, a lot of universities across the world, in US as well as in Australia and other places. They have this, they cover this. And what this is to simply put, it's making your infrastructure intelligent. Okay, making transportation systems intelligent. Now, when you say intelligent, what do you mean? It simply means that you should be able to, when I say you, I mean the vehicle should be able to talk to and interact with the infrastructure. That is it could be your roads, it could be your runway, taxiway, it could be your, metros, your bridges and whatnot. So that is what makes it intelligent, connected vehicle technology and its application. Basically, vehicle gets connected to the adjoining infrastructure, where the vehicle is able to understand and gauge and get that data, so that it can make those decisions. So imagine, I would say, where this transportation industry is heading. So imagine that now we already have driverless cars, and Elon Musk has done, Elon Musk and Amazon and even their companies have done amazing work, and there are a lot of other firms as well. Google is also into that. So this driverless is going to be the future. But more than that, imagine that your main problem with limited speeds and accidents and everything on the road is the driver itself. So and a lot of this, all these avenues that we covered, they keep driver behavior quite a lot in mind. Driver psychology is quite important. So if you get a chance to study that, do study that as well. It's one of the key components in making sure you design it, all the infrastructure right. So in the future, imagine that you are going on a road and there is obviously driverless. You could travel at unlimited speeds, because each car is talking to each other, and they're talking to the infrastructure. They know what is the optimized route. Say, for example, I'm traveling in Mumbai. If you're in Mumbai and you've got to look at Google Maps every freaking day. You want to go to office, you have to look at Google Maps. Which route is the easiest for me? Imagine you don't need to do that at all, and all your, the car knows that automatically, because it knows what's the congestion on X, Y, and Z, and so it's diverting traffic automatically. It knows that within it has about 8 different roads, and any person going using that, it'll just optimize routes for each of them. So that's where we are headed. So anybody who is in the driving industry, who is a driver, they really need to upscale and learn different skill sets, because it's going to go away. Various ITS systems are there. So I'm just going to name them, but these are all been there in the market for the last 20, 25, maybe 30 years or more. And it's quite a shame that we're just catching up on these things. In the last 10 odd years, we've started to catch up on these, and some of them are emergency vehicle notification systems. So I've seen in US how this works, and every time a road is closed, you get a notification miles ahead. There are variable message sign boards which tell you that, okay, this road is closed, you got to take a diversion, and this is the diversion. All those things are already in place over there. In India, to some extent, it's coming up now. Road enforcement, this is now quite there in a lot of major cities, where you break a signal. I mean, you jump a signal light, and then automatically it captures your picture and it sends you a fine on your email. These kind of things are already there. Advanced traffic management system, traveler information system. In the buses, when the bus is going to come. If you're standing on a bus stop, this is part of traveler information system. Now, again, these are overarching terminologies which have a lot of subsystems inbuilt in it as well. So these are not just like, I would say that just one kind of a system put into place. This forms part of a lot of subsystems, and this is an overarching terminology for that. Okay, I hope you all understand that. Public transportation, rural transportation, commercial vehicle operation. Now, a lot of vehicles. One of the projects that we were trying to bid for a couple of years back was, we were trying to automate and automate their trucking system within a factory. This was a steel factory, and what we were telling them is that their entire time period from the time the truck got in to the time the truck was loaded and get off, it was almost about 24 hours. We told them we could reduce it to almost 4 hours, and they were really very enthusiastic about it. But I think so that project got delayed and shelved. But those are the things that you can, as traffic engineers, as the transportation engineers, those are the solutions you can always provide. Now, career in transportation. So you could be dealing with any one of this, or you could be dealing with a combination of this. I would say that for the first 5 years, keep an open mind, and even beyond, and try and see if you can deal with more than one field. So, like I talked about, transportation planning is very much mathematics oriented. Even these other two fields are also quite mathematics oriented. But this is where it will take the cake, basically, where you will really need to work on your mathematics for transportation planning. Traffic engineering, you could be. So there are a lot of firms out there who do both transportation as well as traffic. There are some firms who do, and there are, again, like for example, if you say a typical highway design company which works on tollway, or detailed project reports for projects that will convert into toll roads, build, operate, transfer kind of roads, they would also be doing traffic engineering. They would also be doing pavement engineering. Not necessarily airport. Airport, you would find very few and niche companies would be doing. So one of the firms that I had an opportunity to interact with, and they were quite keen on having me, was Kobe, and they do airport design as well. So Kobe is something that comes to my mind right away. But there are other firms as well. There are a lot of local firms in India as well who do work on airport. There are specialized pavement engineering firms. In US, you would see that there are a lot of specialized firms. In India, you don't see that. In India, you got to know everything. I say that you got to be like the Amitabh Bachchan of the industry. You got to know everything. Sab acting karo aap. You got to make people laugh. You got to make people cry. You got to you got to be an action hero. So it becomes and that is the expectation from most of these firms, that aapko sab kuch aana chahiye. You should know everything, which is really not if you want to develop expertise, then you should pick 2 or 3 areas and become so good at it that you make a name for yourself in the industry and people come to you. So you get projects just based on your name. So that's one way to go. There are many other ways to go, but so that's how I would look at career in transportation. When you're choosing your career, don't keep an open mind unless and until you have a very specific liking. Then I would say go on, head on, go into that particular firm that you really want to go to, and start working over there in that particular niche area. That's also fine. You will I know for sure everybody is going to succeed, but level of successes are going to be different. And for that, after this we will cover that part. But what then what kind of firms you would go to? Like I talked about transportation planning. So there are pure transportation planning firms, and then there are pure engineering firms which deal with, like I talked about, highways, traffic engineering, pavement design, all of that. Even railway design or railway engineering, metros, and these design firms. And there is a combination of, you'll see firms like L&T which do all of this. And then there are construction firms that will basically hire people. They always need highway engineers, because they are always trying to optimize the design that was given to them by the NHAI, which hired some another specific design firm to give them the detailed project reports. That's what it is called, basically. So anywhere you land up. And now, apart from that, there are also other firms. For example, you could be going into a financial firm, like for example, Ernst and Young, Aegis. Aegis actually does a lot more of this as well. And these are some of the international firms like Atkins, Mott McDonald, Jacobs, AECOM, Stantec, MVS Istra, my own old firm, Wallaby Moore, Covey, I talked about, Bureau Happold, ENY, Arcadis. So all these firms are there. They have their back offices in India. So not necessarily, even Jacobs, for example, has a back office in India, but they service projects in various parts of the world. So these are all design offices that they have in India, and they're servicing the rest of the world. So I would say it's a good idea to go and get experience over there as well. But at the same time, I would also suggest that get some Indian experience as well. So work in Indian firms like Feedback Infra, ICT, TCE, Lee Associates, Soville, Voyants, KNG, Spectrum, GMD, all these projects, all these firms, and there are so many more. I'm just naming a few over here. So if you get a chance, work in these firms, and I'll tell you a little bit about how you could plan your career. After this slide, and what are the key skill sets that you typically would need in order to succeed. So there are a lot of construction firms, IRB, L&T, Tata Projects. So all these firms are also there, and Deloitte, SREI, SREI, they are also there. So just look them up and see what suits your purpose, what suits your calling, and you can get into that area. Okay. So coming to the key ingredients, this is where I would like to spend some time and make sure that you all understand, what you spend about, if you're in bachelor's, you're spending about 4 years, learning all the technical skills. If you're in master's, you're spending another 2 years. So that's about 6 years. And for rest of your career, you will be learning technical skills every now and then with either in the firms itself or somewhere else. Okay. But that is just about 30 to 40% of what you need in order to succeed. Yes, just about 30 to 40%. You need about 60% additional. And what are they? What is that key? What are those ingredients that you need? What is that skill sets that you need? And the base of it is, this is one saying that I came across and I found it really interesting. And I thought, I should share this with you guys. Good students become good employees. So what do I mean by that? So if you only worry about your marks, and if you really, just diligently take notes and just make sure that you're covering the syllabus all the time, and you're going to your papers and giving your papers, exams, everything, and getting good marks, that will turn into good employees, definitely. But if you are good learners, it's going to be, and I'm not just saying entrepreneurs, and I'll come to this in a little bit, you know, but good learners would become good entrepreneurs. And I've seen this in my career. I've hired so many people throughout my career so far. I've done a lot of interviews I've done campus interviews for NITs, IITs, and really good schools as well. And I've always insisted, or rather, I've always insisted that I keep it open. I don't give a basic benchmark that you need to have this much GPA or that much GPA. The reason is exactly this. I am always looking for people who are good learners, who have gone beyond and tried to understand the concept. That's why I don't look at GPA so much, because GPA will get you to certain extent, but beyond that, it's all those other ingredients that will get you there, and we'll talk about that in a bit. So develop that learning attitude. In fact, all our schooling, all our university learning, all our college learning, it is nothing but preparing you to learn for a lifetime of learning on your own. So that is what it leads to. And that is the whole sole purpose of your 4 years of bachelor's and 2 years of master's. Basically, teaches you how to learn on your own afterwards. That's why you have those. If you ever wondered why are those reference books there for you, that's the reason why they are there, so that you develop that habit, learning habit. So coming to the key ingredients, confidence, the most, you would say that, okay, yeah, it's so basic and common, and why is such a key ingredient, but it is. And if you ask me how to develop it, if you don't have it, or if you have it, is it the right kind of confidence? I believe confidence comes from truly knowing yourself only. Okay. If you truly know yourself, only then you will have the confidence to move forward and truly understand yourself, and truly understand the other person. Otherwise, you are not going to be able to do that to 100% extent. Ownership, again, and I would say, what I'm going to point out is, you all are born with it. Everybody is born with this skill set. It's just that life uh, got into your way, or you were brought up in a certain way, or people have just been, you got some negative comment, you built up a wall for yourself, and all these mental blocks were there placed afterwards. So we are all born with this skill set. Now, ownership. What do I mean by that? Ownership is nothing but you treat whatever work you're doing as if it's your own, as if it's your own company you're running. If you have that attitude, I would guarantee you would be miles ahead of anybody closest to you. If you don't think about that, okay, this is my 9 to 5 job, 9 to 6 job, I'll do my work, I'll put in my efforts, I'll come back. No, if you think about it, that this is a business that I'm running. That's why that entrepreneur, good learners become good entrepreneurs. That's where it counts. Even if you're doing a job, have a mindset of an entrepreneur, that I am going to run this business. Okay, even if I'm just a junior engineer or a graduate engineer, I am going to run this show. Okay, because you never really, wherever you're working, you never really work for anyone but yourself. Why do I say that? Even if you're hired, you're working in a company, the reason is because you you nobody can take that experience from you, and when you leave that company, you take that experience with you. So if you work as if you own the firm, you are going to put in every amount of effort. That's one of the things. When I came back from US, I was used to that 9 to 6 attitude, and I had that mindset. I was that person. And when I came back to India, one of my mentors, who, he's 15 years older than me, but he told me that you find the firm that you don't like. So I had like 3 or 4 offers, and he told me that, you find the firm that you dislike the most, or you are not comfortable working over there. He said, go over there, because that will get you out of your comfort zone. You work over there like a dog. Basically, you just work for yourself. Don't think that you're working for anybody else. I put in the effort. I was there every day, Saturdays, Sundays. I was even working from home when nobody asked me to do any of that. I had a plan. I had a plan that I'm going to, whatever learnings I'm going to achieve. For example, I was doing highway, I was doing pavement, I was doing, and these are all vast subjects. You don't get to see a lot of things within 1 2 years, but I was grabbing everything that was coming to me. And beyond that, I was also doing business development. Nobody asked me to do, but I was doing that on my own. I was, so these are the things that I think. So if you start doing on your own, nobody should be asking you to do. Just think about it, that okay, what else I can do. Understanding what the other teammates are doing. You would always need to up manage, down manage, and side manage. What do I mean by that? I mean, you would need to manage, you might be just a graduate engineer or a junior engineer, but you will always need to manage your you know your boss, your colleagues, your teammates, and other people in the office, like HR, accounts, and all those kind of people. This conscientiousness is extremely important, and I believe this is one of the most important skill sets. Again, you're born with it, and you've kind of forgotten some of it, but you can work on it and you can really get better. So organized, perfectionism. What do I mean by that? Double checking your work before you send out that email. Just reread it before you send out that assignment. Just take a look at it one more time. Spend a little bit of 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 4 minutes. That is perfectionism, making sure that you have done enough. Being organized is as simple as making sure you come in every day, your desk is organized, your folders are organized, all your files are organized, all your emails are organized. That's what it is. It's really simple things. Diligence. That diligence is nothing but hard work. I always say I would always hire a lazy engineer than very hardworking engineer. The reason is I want smart work. Hard work plus smart work. I want people to be able to find quicker ways of doing the same thing. And I want to be able to find that kind of a person who's going to give me a process designed at shortening stuff, not doing the same thing repetitively in the same manner. That's why I myself am quite lazy. I always look for ways of reducing my own work. You do that, you're going to help your own teammates as well reduce your work. So that's a really valued skill, I would say. Prudence is nothing but being really careful. Careful with your actions, careful with your whatever your work you're doing. So conscientiousness is really, a skill set that I value at most whenever I'm hiring anybody. And I look for those traits. And during the interview, and the interviews I conduct are also quite different than you would see in the industry. I take people out for lunch. I take them out for lunch. I make sure my team talks to them as well. All my teammates, whatever it is, I make sure they talk to them. I also make sure I introduce them to other people in the office, whoever is there, and I make sure I don't give them the best picture possible. I give them a slightly, I would say, not best picture, because if I hire somebody and if they're coming on board, I don't want them to just think about this as a really rosy picture. You're going to work, you're going to be having fun all the time. Not really. So I want you, when you come in, to have the most practical aspects in your mind. And if somebody gets scared by that, awesome, great. So you're not the right fit for me. So see, everybody has skills. Everybody is intelligence. There are 8 different kinds of intelligence, and if you Google them, you'll find them: mathematical, musical, visual. So you find out what your intelligence is, and you hone that skill, and you go into that particular area, and it will give you it will give you a big boost to your career. Basically, communication. Now, This is the most misunderstood aspect of if you in your career. So how many of y'all think communication means good English? That's absolute BS. I must tell you that communication is not good English. You can communicate in each and every language, and not worry about. There's obviously communication via language, but there is also body language. So there is so much more to it. So if I say that you have two experts, one is a public speaker and other is not, who do you think will get paid more? So it's really no brainer. That's why, so all these skills you can really develop. uh, Communication, it boils down into sales, persuasion, and negotiation. So I suggest that you spend your time, time, money, and efforts in developing these skill sets if you don't already have them. Or if you have them and you want to better them, you should do that. For example, I have recently signed up for a communication course. For It's a 3-day course. So my boss basically asked me, my CEO asked me that, why do you think you need that? So he was actually smiling, but I said there are still areas that I really think I need to improve upon. So it's not a one time thing. It's a thing that you need to do continuously. That's why that learners make good entrepreneurs, or are more successful. That is the reason. You got to keep working on it. So business development plus technical skills are, like, they are extremely uh, rare in the market, and every firm is going to be after you. Okay. Few things that you should look out for when you start working: make sure you make your boss look good. Okay. Your boss as well as your team, try to make them look good. What do I mean by that? You put in the efforts. Make sure you understand the information, the way your boss consumes information, the way he is going to want certain things in certain ways. So make him look good by doing your work better. You do your work, you shine, he shines. He shines, his boss shines. That's how it works. So you do your job perfectly and go beyond the call and what is required. Every time he asks you for something, make sure you add something on top of it. Don't just give him what he asked for. See and communicate with him. Ask him, how would he like the information? There are certain things I absolutely require. For example, I don't like grammatical errors. I always look for really nicely formatted email reports and those kind of things. And my team knows that, so they will always try and search for those mistakes and make sure they remove them. So same thing, my boss also
ఏంటి
wants.
ఏం అయిపోలే రాజా,
Hello.
రేపు ల్యాబ్ ఉంది చూసుకుంటున్నా.
Sorry about that. So spend, like I said, spend time, money, and efforts in continuous learnings. contracts Contacts are contracts. So develop contacts, network. Make sure you do that. Wherever you are at this moment, imagine this, that you are a fresh graduate. All your colleagues are going to be fresh graduates. There are people from other universities as well. So try to see how you can get connected to all these people. And as you grow in your career, they are also going to grow in their career. So sometime in the future, there is going to be a give and take. You are going to tell them about certain project, and they're going to tell you about certain projects. That's how you can convert your contacts into contracts. So keep that in mind. Business development should be your number one aim always. That should be at the back of your mind. Even if you don't get to do it, that's fine. And lastly, this is where I leave you with: plan. Have a plan for your career. Like I said, I gave you my example. I squeezed my entire learning for 2 3 years into 6 months, and I was able to achieve it in 8 months. So all that I have planned, I want to learn how to design a highway from scratch. Make It's a 4-lane highway. I want to at least do that. I want to do at least 3 to 4 pavement designs. I want to do at least few traffic studies. I want to at least do. So all these plan it, and you will be able to achieve it. And then crunch that entire time period, finish that in the shortest possible time. And how you can do that? By putting in your own time and effort. Don't think about 9 to 6. That's how you can accelerate your career. You know, there are only few engineers in the top 1% who are leading organizations, who are leading their verticals, and I'll give you my own example. And I know so many people. So I look at people who are at the top, and I know what ingredients they have had, and then I see similar experienced people and where they are, in much junior positions, and I see what they're lacking, you know. So all these things, I believe, hopefully they'll be helpful to you, and you can utilize them and take them and do something about it. And do not forget to enjoy and have fun along the way, no matter how dull it gets. Okay. So I leave you all with that, and I hand over my reins to Jennifer.